Okay. I didn't go to sleep, man. I stayed up. I couldn't go back to sleep. But I want to talk about getting old without money, man. You see, after a while, man, you run out of looks. You get old, and society forgets about you, man. You're like yesterday's news, man. Especially to like young females, you know. You become that old guy. You feel what I'm saying? You become that old guy that nobody wants to talk to and shit when you don't have money. Like, old guys have a hard time finding companionship with like young females without money. You see what I'm saying? So the older you get without money, the worse life will get with women, period. Not just like young women, but older women too. They expect you to have your shit together. So if you older and you broke, you ain't got no money, uh, it's gonna be hard to find companionship. A lot of guys, they struggle, man. You feel what I'm saying? You know, they struggle to find companionship after a certain age. They do. I see a lot of guys who are old and alone, man. You feel what I'm saying? You know. So old and alone without bread, man, it's really difficult, bro, for a lot of cats. You know. Then people say, well, you shouldn't leave with your wallet. I'm like, once you get old, you got no choice. I hate when motherfuckers act like they got a choice. It's like you you don't have a choice. You know, because once you get up there in age, the desperation gonna kick in for companionship, man. Especially from a young female. You know, them desperate. I see a lot of guys who are going overseas just opening their wallets. Once some of these young females give them some of that young hot tenderoni sex, man, they opening up bank accounts. They're spending their life savings on these women to keep them around because they're in their final quarter of their life, and that's when you're the most desperate and the most vulnerable. You know, when you're young, you could take being alone a little bit more, but when you're older and alone and broke, you ain't gonna be able to take that much, man. You know what I'm saying? You know. So as you get older, you know, without money, it gets worse. When you're young without money, then society, including women, they'll give you a pass. Well, yo, he's 22 years old. You're not supposed to have a whole lot of money yet. But once you get over 30, that's when life really truly begins. And that's why you gotta like prepare for that moment. You know,
Wait.
the moment you get over 30, you get no more handouts. You get no more free rides, man. No more free young coochie. You start to become invisible to young females the moment, like every year past what, 25? Every year past 25, you become more and more invisible in society without money. You could be 60, you ain't got no money, you're invisible to everybody, especially females. A lot of guys, lonely guys, going overseas, bro. Just opening their wallets. All the goddamn traffic, man. They open it up their wallets to keep from being alone, bro. And some of them are delusional. They thinking that the young females, are in love with these old dudes. Nope, once you get old, bro, ain't no such thing as real true love with a young female. Once you get to be like 60, 70, without money, you're forgotten about. Oh yeah, but if you're 60 or 70, you got a lot of money, then yeah, you're still in the game, You can still date young females, what I'm saying, younger than you. You'll never be deprived of anything. Like, that's why I say when men don't build nothing their whole entire life and they get to be a certain age, they left alone by themselves. Basically waiting for death. You're waiting for death, basically. That's why I gotta stop drinking, man. If I want to live to be older, I gotta stop drinking, man. Tonight we are not drinking tonight at all. I promise you on that one. It's embarrassing, man. Like I said, as you get older, it becomes a lot more difficult, man, to even make friends. As you age, without bread, people don't want to be around you. You just become an old fart, man. And without money, you'll never ever see a young female ever again. It's gonna get to a certain point in your life where the 20-something-year-old females are not checking for you no more after that. So maybe in your 40s, if you keep your body in shape, yeah, you got a few young females, checking for you. But as you age and you keep getting older, you're going to slowly but surely you become invisible, man. You feel me? Like I remember at 30, man, I started becoming more and more invisible to young females, especially because I put on weight. But I noticed that there was a slight change, in the interaction between me and young females. Like I started becoming the old guy in the club and shit once I hit like 30, man. You know what I'm saying? But when I was in my 20s, everything was okay with young females. I had no problem getting a young female. But as I start getting older, that pool of young females starts shrinking. And it continued to shrink. It's continuing to shrink, bro. They know you older now. They know you in your 30s at least. They know you well over 30. You know what I'm saying? They know you might got some money. They look for the money as you get older. And if you broke by the time you get to a certain age, man, you're gonna have a hard time getting them young females. That's why these cats that go overseas, they go crazy for the coochie with a young female, because over here, man, in America, if you're not rich and successful by the time you get to be 50 or 60 years old, young females gonna be off limits to you, bro. You know, you might be getting a few of them here and now and then, but they're not checking for dudes that's past a certain age. After them young females, they got standards. You know, you get a certain, you get past a certain age. You feel me? You know, you get past a certain age, they ain't gonna be checking for you no more, man. And that's why it's gonna suck to get older and don't have a lot of money. That's why dudes are out here trying to become millionaires, because they see it coming. They see old age coming, man. And they see being alone coming. I'm gonna be old and alone if I'm gonna make this dream happen. You know, they see it coming, bro. That's why dudes get the money. That's why Diddy went out and became a millionaire or a billionaire, because he, you know, he saw it coming. He saw it coming, man. Diddy would have been alone if he didn't become a billionaire. He in his 50s now. Yeah, he'll be alone. But since he became a billionaire, he's still pulling them young hot young Miamis and shit. You know what I'm saying? If you become rich and successful in your early 20s and throughout your 30s, and if you stay rich, man, you'll always be getting young females, man. Even until you get like 60, you'll still be able to pull a 20-something year old female, 30-something year old female, whatever is young to you. You know, you 60, you can still pull a 30-year-old woman, bro. It's like, but after, like, if you don't get, like, if you get a certain age and you don't have any money, yeah, old and alone you will be. Yeah. 50, 60. And you're going to spend those years by yourself, man. It's happening to a lot of cats right now. You know, I think it was Sunshine Shoulders. He came back to the U.S. and he witnessed a lot of his older friends just alone, by themselves, suffering from loneliness. You know, he's like, oh man, I could go back to the Philippines. This place ain't for me. I come over to America. These young females ain't checking for me, man. That's why he got his ass over there in the Philippines, bro, because he can date a younger woman and don't have to deal with females around his age. You know. And you can't really build anything with a female around your age anyway. You know, you see, he went over there and had a child, a kid, but he's not by himself. That's one thing that he did right, was go to where you appreciated it, where you're not 50 or 60 and by yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made the right move. He went to a country where the women didn't discriminate on age as much. Because out here in the West, they discriminate on age, man. Like, young females, like, oh, you 45? Ugh, no, that's too old. But if you look good, I can see them doing that. I mean, dating and shit like that. If you keeping your body in shape, but that's only gonna last for so long. You feel what I'm saying? Before your physical starts to disappear at 60. And you're done physically. Like 65, man, 60, 65, your physical is done. And in 40, yeah, you can still pull a few youngins if you're working out and keeping your body in shape. But, you know, money becomes the most important thing in your older age. It's the most important thing in your life. That's why you got to prep while you're young. Get the, cross the finish line when you're young. You feel me? Cross that finish line when you're young. You know, so that way you won't get to be older and alone. You know, like this guy, what's his name? Short man or whatever his name is. Short bald guy. He gonna be old and alone if he don't get his shit together, bro. You feel what I'm saying? He's spending too much time crying when he should be trying to better himself so he can get the women that he like. And I can tell that, this guy, he want the Stacys, man. He want the Keishas and shit, bro. You feel me? He wants the Keisha. He wants the Keisha. She wants the Stacy. He want them pretty women. You know what I'm saying? He could easily get a female that's 5 foot tall, sub 5 like him, but he don't want that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'd be cool with a female that's on my looks level, like just an average woman. I'd be cool with that. I don't shy away from average women. I still love average women. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about getting a bag and dating just an average woman, so it could be real. You know, female that's around 30. You know what I'm saying? I'm 45. You know what I'm saying? It could be a little bit more real instead of fake. You know, because after you get older, man, it stop becoming about love, and it becomes more about your pocketbook, man. It becomes more about your wallet after you hit a certain age. All that falling in love stuff, it don't happen no more. When you was young, yeah, it was easy to fall in love with a young woman, bro. But as time goes by, you ain't got your bread together, man, you're gonna suffer from loneliness, man. And that's on the real. You know, look at Denzel Washington. He's not alone. He's 70. He's married because he got his shit together, man. He did a lot of wise things when he was young. He just didn't like waste time. And that's why he's 70 and he's not alone. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Donald Trump, you know, even though he's an old fart, he's the president of the United States, and he's not alone. He's not deprived of sex from younger females. Okay, he's not deprived. He's getting sex on the regular from that. What's his wife, Melania or whatever her name is? I think they're still married, and he got a younger 40-year-old something woman that looked beautiful, by the way. But the thing is, because Trump, who he is, man, he not by himself. If Trump would have never went out after the bag in his 20s and stuff and became rich, he would be alone right now. If he would have never became president of the United States, he would be old and alone. He'll be some old guy living in an apartment somewhere, just, you know what I'm saying, racking off the porn until he died. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, dudes got to do smart things when they're young, so they won't end up suffering from loneliness like a lot of men out here. I see it happen to a lot of men out here. This dude over here that live up under the steps, he's alone. He about 50 or 60 or something like that, by himself. You ain't got no money, man. That's it, man, for you. You feel me? As you get older, money becomes more important. Then leading with your wallet becomes a reality. Because you got guys like, you know, short bald guy talking about leading with your wallet, man. I don't know. I'm like, bro, hello, you got no choice, especially after you hit an old age. You know, for you got no choice. For the type of women that you want to date, you got no choice but to do that, I'm afraid, man. There's no other way around. I think a lot of guys, they think there's another way, but there's no way around money, bro. There's no, especially for you, man. You definitely not a Chad or a Tyrone, so it beats being by yourself. You know, dating hot women that's not really into you, but they just into your money. It beats being by yourself. Let's put it that way. It beats being an incel with nothing to fuck. Okay, so that's the next level. That's the next step up. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of guys are incels talking about, yeah, I don't know about leading with your wallet. I'm like, bro, you are 5'4", and you sub 5. You on here talking about killing yourself because you can't get a woman. You talking about you don't want to lead with your wallet. That dude is mentally ill, bro. There's something wrong with him. You know, he's gonna be the next Elliot Rodger, bro. You gotta watch that dude, bro. You gotta watch him, because now he's talking about suicide, and he had a video. The latest video was him. I don't know how he did that, but he had a symbol symbolizing, you know, a gunshot to the fucking head and shit. Like, it's over for me. That video, yeah. He made a video called "It's Over for Me," and now he's talking about suicide and stuff. So The chronic loneliness or whatever, a lot of dudes are suffering from it because they don't have the money. They didn't, you know, they, it, it, man, it takes time, bro. It takes time to get the bread. It's not an easy thing to do, you know, but you have to get it, man. Yeah, you gotta get the money, or you're gonna be an old and alone guy, man. The guy's he's around 30. He's already alone. So I'm like, he kind of spent 10 years, man, just complaining and probably chasing women when he was younger. But when you get to be 30 something, there's no more free rides, man. You know, I noticed that, man. When I got to be 30, there's no more free rides. Young females start looking at you sideways when you hit 30 years old. I noticed that, man. Once I hit 30, you know, they start asking me like what I did for a living a lot more. I remember I used to meet females, you feel me? And females used to ask me what I did for a living a lot more versus when I was in my 20s. They never asked me that. You know, it becomes more about the wallet as you age. I keep telling you time and time again, you know, it becomes more about your wallet, what you can do for them financially, bro. ain't no more real love after that, bro. Once you get 50, 60, it becomes more about your wallet. That's why guys, they be on the hustle while they're young. You know, they get the bag while they're young so they can always be able to enjoy life the way they want to enjoy life. You feel what I'm saying? You know? When your looks die out, then what? Then what? You ain't got no money to attract females, young females. When you get to be 50, 60, your ass is old, and you broke at the same time, that's a recipe for being alone for the remaining years of your life. And we're not here forever. You just got to get that to your brain that we ain't going to be here forever. And eventually, you know, death is going to come knocking at our door, you know, in the future, eventually. Okay? Okay, who this is in the comment section, bro, you know, I ain't got no time for no trolling. So if you trolling, I'm going to kick you out. But anyway, like I said, man, we must prepare for the future, bro. Chase jackpots. Chase the acting dream, the acting career. Chase while you young, you know. Chase becoming a doctor, a lawyer, anything. Even a school bag would be cool. Bet it's better than nothing. It's better than working at McDonald's somewhere, or, you know, working at a Burger King somewhere trying to make ends meet. You know, at least do that. At least chase a school bag. If you don't want to do that, chase chase the movie dream, you know, the acting dream. Chase comedy. Do something that's gonna benefit you in the future, so that way you won't you won't end up being older and alone by yourself. Because that's what happens to men when they're not worth anything when they get older. They get to be 60, 70, they're not worth anything, they end up alone, just straight up just by themselves, man. I'm hearing a lot of like stories of these guys going to Thailand and they going over there with their heart on their shoulder. They lonely as hell, ain't had no female companionship in years, and they get over there and they finally find a woman that's young that want to give them the time of day, but they're not knowing that this is going to be more of a transactional relationship. For the most part, women like to have dudes who are around their age. Okay, they'll make exceptions for if you got a lot of money, then yeah, they'll fuck with you, man. Like this young guy told me a while back. He was saying that this guy that worked at the store over here across the way, he was saying the reason why young females mess with older dudes because the money is good. That's the only way you'll see a 25-year-old woman with a 45-year-old dude. Unless the dude look real good, shredded and shit like that, he got his body in shape, then yeah, then I can see, uh, them being together. But it'll be short-lived because eventually you're gonna hit 50 and then 60. Your looks gonna keep on going down, 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 down. And I don't know how long she's gonna be attracted to you after that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know. But the money will keep them around, bro. Like, as long as you're focused on the bread, man. Like I said, Diddy would have been alone. Diddy would have never had got with Young Miami, bro. Because he had that paper, bro. Women came around, bro. He kept females around. As long as you got that money, guys, women will always be around. You'll never be lonely. You'll never have a lonely day or a lonely night. You'll never have a lonely night. But as long as you keep aging and you keep running out of looks and you keep on coming more invisible, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be lonely. You're going to be by yourself as you age. But right now, I'm in my 40s and I'm alone. So I can imagine it's going to get worse in the next 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to get worse. Looks going to be gone. Your physical is going to be gone by the time you hit 60, 65. That's what that one guy was saying. He was like, that one guy on, I think it was, I was watching that YouTube channel. Forgot the name of the guy, man. I forgot what it was, but there was some guy on there that was spitting some real gems, some real truth. He was like, once you get to be 65, your physical is done, man. It's done. If you ain't got no money by the time that happens, you're gonna be alone, bro. You're gonna be finished. He was like, the dude was hella gloom and doom, bro. He was like, get out of the UK while you can, man. He was like, man, get out of the UK, man. These women got staring us up way up to here. It was like, you get out while you can. I forgot the name of the dude channel, man. But he really shed some light on some things, man. To let a guy know that, hey, if you don't get your bread together, you will get to be old and alone. Especially by the time you like 50 or 60, if you ain't got bread by then, bro, and if you ain't got it together by then, you're gonna be alone. You feel what I'm saying? Because then, what's gonna happen is, for some reason, females ain't gonna wanna fuck with you around that age. I mean, you might be able to attract a woman around your age, but she gonna expect for you to have your shit together too. So she ain't gonna deal with you for very too long, man. Like, man, this guy's 50, 60, he's broke. Like, what did he do his whole entire life? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna be able to keep a authentic, long-term relationship without money. That's just the way it is. Money is the most important thing in your life, especially as you age, bro. Like, it becomes, as you get older and older, money becomes more important. Like your 20s, money is not that important, man. You got your health, you got your looks. You feel what I'm saying? You can still attract a female when you're young, a young female, right? But as you get to be like 30, 40, money becomes more and more and more important. Like this guy, the short bald guy, he's already 30 already. So now his looks are going downhill. Like, even though he's sub 5, he probably been sub 5, but he gonna get even more sub 5. Like right now, first of all, he never had looks to begin with. I can tell. He never had looks. But as he ages, he gonna keep on, like, it's gonna keep on getting worse for him. Like he said in the past, he been with women and shit. He could probably, when he was at 21, 22. He had, maybe he was young because he was youthful and shit like that. He was attracting a few women here and there. But then as he got to be 30, he started seeing the door start closing in front of him. He started becoming more alone and alone because every day past 25 for a man, it's a downhill slope for the physical. You feel what I'm saying? For many years to come, like every day after 25, it gets worse. Soon you turn 25, that's when the aging process starts. Get off me, bug. As soon as you turn 25, that's when the aging process starts, and it's a slow decline on both genders, not just male, not just female, but male on both genders. And he's gonna get way more sub 5 now. He gonna get, you know, he gonna get way more like sub 5. Like it's gonna get worse. That's why he's alone right now. And 5 years gonna go by, 10 years gonna go by. Like maybe he's a 3 right now, but he gonna be a 2, in the next couple of years, and then he gonna come down to 1, and then he gonna be a 0 after a while. So, like me, man, when I was in my 20s, I was a solid 7, just like little 7. You feel what I'm saying? But then as I got into my 30s, I became a 6. Now I'm in my 40s, I become a 5, man. But I keep the physical intact, so I'm still attractive, because I keep my body in shape. I try to, right now, my body fat percentage is okay. I'm not fat or nothing right now, but I try to slow down the aging process. You feel what I'm saying? You can do that by exercising and keeping yourself in shape and eating right at least half of the times. You know what I'm saying? But you can't stop it. You can slow it down, the aging process, but you can't stop it. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, why a lot of men end up old and alone by themselves. There's this guy over there that lives in his car, tall, Michael Jordan motherfucker, with sinonasal folds. You get that when you get old, man. Like once you get sinonasal folds, bro, man, it's over with young females. But I'm glad I'm not gonna get that because it's not in my genes to get sinonasal folds. It's got to be in your genes, And then it means lines around the mouth and shit. I'm not gonna get that. I might got a little fat around the cheeks and stuff like that, but it's not sinonasal folds. That's when it's really over for you. Then you really gotta have money. Then once your sinonasal folds start kicking in, you really gotta need money. But I don't think I'm gonna get that because it starts earlier, having sinonasal folds or whatever, like around your 30s, and then you start seeing it. I never got it. I never got I'm so glad I don't got sinonasal folds, man. I'm so glad. Because some dudes get that shit, blood, to get older, man. 50 Cent got it. He didn't have it in his 20s. But as he got into his 30s and stuff, that's when they start to appear, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's not in my genes to get sinonasal folds. Thankfully. Shit. But like I said, man, as you get older and you lose your looks, the wallet is what is going to be your main thing to attract women with. A lot of guys they think they're going to be young forever and shit. Like, nah. Leading with your wallet as an old man is going to be your best bet, bro. By the time you get to be 50 and 60, you want to keep dating them young females, you're going to be leading with your wallet, bro. Diddy did it. He leading with his wallet when he was dating Young Miami, man. Diddy in his 50s, man. You know what I'm saying? Then you got younger dudes that are shame you. They'll call you a trick. Oh, you just this, you that. I'm like, they forget that eventually they're gonna be leading with their wallet too when they get to be a certain age. You know, a lot of guys when we young, you know, we think that we're gonna live forever and shit like that. So we shame the older man for leading with his wallet. He has no choice but to lead with his wallet. Hello, hello, thank you. You have no choice because you are old, bro. Young females are only gonna come around for your money, man. I done heard stories on Thailand, bro. Like, dude, I be listening to stories at nighttime about motherfuckers in Thailand and how when they run out of money, the women tell them how they really feel. The young females, they'll be like, you old man. You think I was just with you because you was, I was just here for the money, you know. When he ran out of money, she told him how she truly felt about his old ass. And he got old. He was like, you know, she was like, you silly old man. You think I was just here just for you? I was here for your money. I wasn't here for you. She told him straight up to his face. And I was like, damn, that's gonna be me one day. Like, man, just don't run out of money. That's one thing about being old. Don't run out of money. That's the worst thing you can do, bro. Don't be saving money and then heading overseas, bro. You run out of that after a while. Once them females drain you of your resources, of your life savings, and they drain you of your everything, you know what I'm saying? Then they're gonna leave you. That's why it's good to have a pension at least when you go over there, or a retirement check, or some wise investments. Going over there with just save money, you'll run out of that. I don't care if you're going over there with 100 grand or $1 million. I done heard stories of dudes going over there with just $1 million, and they came back broke because they got over there and they got with them young, hot tenderonis. You know, a lot of these old guys in their 50s and 60s, they really starved of female attention, young female attention. You know, they're really starved of young female attention over here in the West. So they go to Thailand, where they're not used to like female attention, young female attention, by the way, and they start going crazy. You feel what I'm saying? Opening wallets and spending savings and building them a house. And you got people in the comment section like, why are these guys simping? Why are they simping? Because they, you know, a lot of dudes, you got to understand something. You know, as you get older, loneliness becomes worse. You know, and then you're in the last quarter of your life, you know, and you're starving for like young female attention. When you get over there, bro, you're not gonna be able to control your wallet, man, because you ain't used to like being with a young, hot, tenderoni, beautiful girl like that. So you don't have discipline around beautiful women. So a lot of guys are getting used for like houses and stuff, like old simps, just like opening their wallet and and building houses in Thailand for young females and stuff. And then once they get that house, they start acting different. I'm like, you were surprised? Once they get the house from you, they don't have to be nice to you no more, bro. She was only giving you that good, good, giving you that young good because she wanted you to build that house or buy a house for her. Buy it and build it, you know. She wanted you, she wanted, and once she did that for you, once you did that, then all of a sudden you're complaining in the marriage. Oh, she acting different now, man. She acting different now. You know, she's distant. We don't even sleep in the same room. Oh man, how could it be? Yeah, because you built that house for her and that's all she needed you to do. Now she's trying to distance herself from you, call you less, because she's not really into you as an old motherfucker. She's into your fucking money. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna happen to all of us, bro. We ain't gonna be young and youthful forever, bro. You know what I'm saying? It gets worse after age 25. Every day after age 25, it gets worse for you, physically. Okay? So that's why you shouldn't do that, man. You always keep a woman needing you, man. Don't ever go out there and buy a house for a young female, man. You can hang out with them but don't give them houses and stuff. You can pay their bills, but don't buy them houses. Don't do that. Don't go over there and get used like a handle like that, man. A lot of old geezers are opening up their wallets and building houses. Oh, I thought we were gonna spend our life together, and once I built that house, all of a sudden she doesn't know me anymore. Like, yeah, she used you for whatever she can use you for, and then once you're used up, and you know what I'm saying? Once you're used up, they don't want to use you no more. So always keep a woman needing you. Like when she says, "Oh, I want to build a house right here," no, I'm not building you a house. That's you got to say no. I'll pay your rent, I'll pay your bills, but I'm not, cause then you won't need me anymore. You feel what I'm saying? If I buy you a house, then like you don't have to pay rent if I buy the house, right? So it's yours. You're gonna discard me after I get you that house. Pay the rent, cause that keep them needing you. You know, a lot of guys, like I said, they go overseas and they build a house, a beautiful house for these young hot Filipinas or young hot Thai women, and then as soon as they build that house, they're surprised that these young females are acting different all of a sudden. Not giving, starting fights with them, not giving them respect, and just acting like they don't need them no more because they don't. They got the house from you, bro. This is what I've been, a lot of stories in Thailand from like expats who went out there, man. These are true stories. Get off me, bug. That these guys are complete sexually starved, over here, man, and they go over there just desperate as hell because after you get a certain age, if you don't have a lot of money, you're gonna get young females is cut off to you. Like for real, there's a time limit on your looks and your youth that you're able to attract a young woman with just your youth and your looks. There's a time limit on that, and every year that go, what am I saying? Every year that's past 25, man, it gets worse for you physically. Your physical, your skin, your hair start to thin out, and it gets harder to put on muscle and all the other stuff as you age. That's why I find myself doing way more push-ups now than I did when I was a young buck in my 20s. And I'm doing like to keep swole, man. I'm doing like 300 push-ups. Before I used to be able to just do 100 and I was good. Nowadays I'm doing 300. It's like, man, I do them in sets, 40, 40, 40, 40, and 40 and 40. Or 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. Sometimes 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. You feel what I'm saying? But there's a time limit on your youth and your looks. Even if you're a Chad or a Tyrone, there's a time limit on that. Even when I was listening to like that Facing LMS live, and old Chad called in, and they asked him, it was like, "Are you Chad? Are you a Chad?" And he said, "Not anymore." And I said, "Oh, even Chad and Tyrone even Chad and Tyrone got an expiration date too on their looks." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And all that other stuff. So I'm like, there's an expiration on that shit, bro. Then it becomes more about your wallet as you age. See, the youngsters, they don't get it. They're like, "Oh, you tricking, or you simping, or something like that." I'm like, yeah, because I'm not young like you no more, man. They don't understand that looks fade. Your physical fade. And then what else you got to stand on? Your wallet. That's why you see a lot of older guys tricking for like young females, because they know that their physical is like gone. They know that they're old, and they know they gotta pay their way into their heart. These old guys, they know that they gotta pay their way. I'm talking about the OGs, like 55, 60. You feel what I'm saying? They know they gotta pay to get the young females and keep money around to get them. You can never like an old man. You can't afford to be broke. You can't afford to run out of money. That's why I say I hear these stories over there in Thailand of these guys going broke, just trying to keep a female around, having to get like either deported or having to get back on the plane because they start running out of money and messing up their retirement, and they end up homeless and broke. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, well, don't be like going out there with just savings, bro. Like, have a pension or a retirement check. That's not gonna that's gonna last you for the rest of your life, so you can keep on getting money, man. Like that guy David from what's it? What am I saying? Not David from David and Annie. He was broke, but I heard they was doing better financially as time went by. What am I saying? David Campbell, from the crippled guy that's over there with the Filipina. He has a disability check coming in for the rest of his life. So pretty much, he's not gonna be alone. If he didn't have that disability check, man, he would be over here in America. He would be an incel, bro. But since he had some money, he was able to get married. I ain't talking about like real money. I'm talking about like he had a retirement check. He was able to get married and get a wife, man, even though he crippled and sub 5 at the same time. And old, old, sub 5 and crippled. But he still was able to pull something because of his wallet, bro. Over there, if the check is like $2,500 a month, he living like a king in the Philippines. You feel what I'm saying? And he helps out the family and shit like that. But it's stable though. It's consistent. The money's consistent. That's what you want. You want consistency. You want the money to be coming in to the day that you die, bro. You don't want to get to a point where like you ain't got no money in your pocket and you can't attract a young female no more. You don't want to get to the point where you broke and old and broke. That's something that you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you don't want to do. So you gotta, while you young, work on that bread, man. You feel what I'm saying? Work on that money. So you won't end up like some of these guys out here, man, that's by themselves. I see dudes coming into cafe by themselves, like older, 60, 70, by themselves every single day coming in. Old dudes. Some dudes are old and sub 5. They doomed to a life of solitude for the rest of their life because they ain't got no money. You see what this guy is driving over here? There's this guy, white guy with a gray beard. Guy's like definitely sub 5. I could tell even though he's older, I could say he got a beard, I can see that his eye area is sub 5-ish, and he's alone. He's by himself. He's old and he's broke. He drives a beat up van, that's really old. So I'm like, he got two things that's working against him: his age and his pockets. That's why I say that them days of being 60, 65, that's gonna come around. It's gonna eventually come around. And what you do right now, man, what you do right now depends on, whether or not you're gonna be old and alone or not. It's your choice though. Like if you choose not to do nothing with your whole entire life, don't be surprised if you end up old and alone by yourself. If you decided not to chase the bag your whole entire life, don't be surprised if you all of a sudden become invisible to like young females. Like older guys who got a lot of money, they still visible to young women, even though it's not authentic, but at least you're visible. Let me tell you something real quick. I'd rather be visible than be invisible. I'd rather have imitation crab than have no crab at all. You feel what I'm saying? I'd rather be visible, even if it's just for my money. At least I'm visible. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not invisible. Because after a certain age, when you don't have any money, automatically become invisible, and it hurts to be invisible. So you got to choose which one you want to be. You want to be visible or you want to be invisible? I'd rather be visible. You feel what I'm saying? I'd rather be an old trick that's 60 years old and got a young hot tenderoni because I got a swollen pocketbook. I got swollen pockets. You feel what I'm saying? I can still attract because I got swollen pockets. I ain't by myself. I'm not at home by myself in a rocking chair, or I'm not by myself, cooking noodles, as an old man, what I'm saying, watching TV by myself, you know, uh, jacking off the porn by myself, going to the park by myself, going to the movies by myself, going to Starbucks by myself. You know what I'm saying? I got some company like what's his name? Sugar Daddy. He got a Porsche. I don't know if you guys know who Sugar Daddy is. It's this small Asian dude that drives a Porsche and a Corvette. Okay, he got a woman with him, bro. Now, is it authentic? No, but because his pocketbook is on swole, he's not by himself. You feel what I'm saying? She look like around, she like 30 something, and Sugar Daddy look like he about 60. You know what I'm saying? But you could tell that he's a sugar daddy because he got his woman dressed up in jewels, man, and like designer clothing and stuff. And I saw him the other day, some months ago, like holding her bag for her and shit. He came in holding the bag. You know what I'm saying? It was a Gucci purse or something like that. It was some designer bag, but he came in with it. I guess he was holding it for her or some shit like that, but he not alone. The man made smart moves when he was young. He didn't just sit on his ass and complain about his situation. He got out there and he made that money, man. So now he's not gonna be alone. He gonna end up dying. He ain't gonna die alone. You know what I'm saying? He probably gonna leave the money to her and shit when he die. But the key is he's not alone. The main thing is, my main point is, he's not alone. His pocketbook is good. You feel me? His pocketbook is good. And he does very well. Drives a Corvette and a Porsche. He's not super rich, but he does good. Anytime a motherfucker drives a Corvette or a Porsche, they doing okay in life. They comfortable. They got money. You feel what I'm saying? They might not be super rich, like Lamborghini money or like a McLaren or something like that. That's next level rich right there. That's like when you got deep pockets. An older motherfucker driving a McLaren or a Lambo, he got deep pockets. You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm gonna end this live, man. I'm going to Starbucks. I might get kicked out of Starbucks. I don't know. I'll go in there and see if I can go in. I'm sorry. For real. You guys have a good day. I'll be back on later. Peace out, take care, and bless. I'm out.